There's a secret I'm going to share with you today, which I don't think I've ever heard it spoken about before. And that is the secret power of gentleness. I think we hear a lot about passion and all of the qualities that go with an outward expression of strength. We hear very little about the power of quieter ways of being. And in my own journey in life, it's a more recent thing for me to come to a deep understanding of the power of being gentle. I'm someone with a lot of energy, and I'm very passionate in life and self-expressed. And it's been a journey for me to come to a place where all of that energy and that power and that self-expression can come out in a way that I consciously choose. And more often than not lately, I choose for that to be gentle. So why is that? And first of all, I want to mention the fact that gentleness is not exclusive of passion. It's simply a mode of communication, and it's something that we can cultivate as a way of communicating. And the passion is still there. It's just not expressed loudly or aggressively or forcefully, but it's deeply present. And there's also a big difference between gentleness and weakness. They're two completely different things. You know, the word gentle comes from an ancient French word which means of noble birth. You know, genteel, to be a gentleman, to be a gentlewoman. It means you come from high birth. And I don't know about you, but when I think of gentleness or a gentleman or a gentlewoman, I think of fineness, refinement of being, a kind of cultivated self, a cultured self. And there's a certain thoughtfulness that goes with it. Why I want to talk about gentleness is because in my own life I have discovered that gentleness breeds openness and intimacy and a space for loving and a space for self-reflection that is not available when you're busy defending yourself from a more forceful energy. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think if we bring more gentleness into the world, we'll hear each other more, we'll love each other more, we'll be more connected, we'll be able to feel the finer things in life. And you know, I'm lucky enough to be with someone who's extremely gentle with me. He never raises his voice to me, never calls me names, never does the rough stuff. And what it does is, I've noticed it allows me to be gentle, allows me to be like a flower that's just able to open, and I get to actually feel what's really going on in me because I'm not in a state of defense, and I get to be really open and intimate and soft and enjoy all of those aspects of myself because I'm not in a state of recovery from somebody's harsh words or somebody's like bold expression of their energy that kind of overwhelms the space. So I think it's an extraordinarily beautiful thing. Okay, so that's why we want to be gentle. To create a space of openness, safety, intimacy, understanding between each other. In being gentle for yourself, like you serve yourself, and that you create a space for other people to be like that, and you also get to feel yourself in a more accurate way, in a sense, because there's not all this sort of like superficial disturbance going on the surface. So how do we be gentle? Because gentleness is not weakness, it's not quietness even necessarily. It's a state of being that we can choose to be. Just like a mood. A mood is a choice. And the the mode of being gentle and communicating in a gentle way is a conscious choice that we can cultivate. So it comes across in a tone. It's a kind of tone that has a softness to it. It's a presumption of responsibility for ourselves, because the moment that we enter into blame, that we cannot be gentle anymore. We cannot, because as soon as we're in blame, there's a sort of aggression that comes in, because we're pushing our energy away from ourselves. Gentleness actually kind of allows energy to settle. In order to be gentle, you also have to accept yourself, because when we don't accept ourselves, we also have this kind of like need to push the feeling of badness, of not being good enough, of not being lovable. There's a real discomfort with that, and we have to push it away, and that comes across as a kind of subtle or exaggerated angry energy as well. You have to assume that you're strong, because then you don't have to prove that you're strong with bravado, with loudness, with aggression. So they're the main things. I think it's like, you've got to choose it, and you adjust your body language and your tone in relation to that. 2, you have to completely accept yourself, well, as much as you can. Then you're not pushing away the uncomfortable feelings of not being lovable and not being good enough, which is a tendency for all of us. 3, you have to assume that you are strong and you can do it, and you don't need to prove anything. And then lastly, give up blame, because that automatically causes us to be disturbed in a sense. So that's what I got to share today, the art of being gentle. So go forth and be phenomenal. Perhaps try out being gentle, and I'll see you again soon.